to a delightful weekend in the country.
Hi, I'm Sam.
And I'm Max.
I'm Kris.
And this is Movies Actually, where we give you an honest review of the movies we've meddled with so mischievously over at Maybe Movies. And this time, it's time to talk about Withnail I, the 1987 Bruce Robinson directed movie, starring Richard E. Grant, Paul McGann.
It's also Ralph
Richard
Brown,
Griffiths.
Richard Griffiths, Ralph Brown, and Michael Elphick as well.
Of course, can't forget Elphick.
No.
I didn't watch this when it first came out at the movies, did you?
No.
God, no.
I wasn't born.
I had a bunch of friends, and they had this habit of saying to me, "The Mustang shall be aspirin!" Or occasionally, "Get in the back of the van!" And I didn't understand why, and eventually one day I asked them why, and they said, "Sit down and watch this," and I did. And my life was changed. Mm-hmm. How about you guys?
So, again, I heard about it late 80s, early 90s, when I was studying drama at college, because it's an actor's favourite.
Yes, of course, yeah.
That's how I heard about it, but it was a good 8 or 9 years after that, again, when I was living elsewhere, and I used to go and I'd buy a couple of films, and I'd get one that I'd heard of but never seen.
Right.
And that was one that I bought, and I bought it, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember college people talking about this. Watched it, yeah, it's okay. Put it on the shelf, forgot about it for a year, and then watched it again, and I was like, I get it.
Actually, this is genius.
I get it now, yeah. And it was...
That's the thing, because I saw it nearly 15, 20 years before I got into acting. So I loved it for its iconic characters and its funky lines. And
we want the finest wines available to humanity. We want them here, and we want them now.
Just some of the weird shit that happens in it. And it wasn't until many, many years later that I appreciated the actor side of it.
Yes, yeah. How about yourself, Paul?
When I first watched it, I didn't actually enjoy the film in any way, shape, or form. It was one of my least favourite films I ever watched.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I watched it during sixth form. A girl in one of my years showed it to me, because again, I studied drama and English, and I had a lot of lessons with her, and I came round hers because she always lived so close to school, and she showed me some films, and one of them was Withnail I. But watching it just now, I appreciate its quality, but the last few times when I watched it, I just never enjoyed it for its quality, which is a shame to say, but it was almost like watching a bootleg copy of...
It was... They didn't have a lot of money. He had made it on a budget of 1.1 million.
Yeah.
Right.
But as I got to watch it, especially watching it just now, I really enjoyed the film now. I think it's aged really well with me. I think it's a film that's good for a coming-of-age story as well, almost, as you get older, I think that film starts to make a bit more sense.
It does, yeah. There's very much that element of the end of the dream, if you like, where you have to face up, where you've crossed over from that, you've spent all your time in education studying to be something, and then real life comes around and goes, hi, you owe me this.
This is very much...
that's it. That's Danny's speech at the end, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
It just very much reminds me of... It's a perfect student film, in the sense that not that it's made by a student, but as in, it's about students.
Yes.
That type of lifestyle, how gritty it was in England, and...
It's very it's very autobiographical by Bruce Robinson.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, because so the character of Withnail is... the model for that was a friend of his called Vivian McKerrell, who was an actor who he lived with in Camden Town in the late 60s. So all of that, a lot of that is drawn from his experiences.
You see, I'd imagined it being sort of a little bit autobiographical, but not that much.
Yeah. I've seen something. I have seen something with Vivian McKerrell in, but not surprisingly, he died quite young.
Well, that's certainly the future that the film seems to lay out for Withnail as well, isn't it?
Yes, there
part
was...
of a dying breed.
I don't know if they ever shot it. There was the ending that's in this. No spoilers, but the ending in this is not the ending in his original draft.
Oh, right. Yeah. So what was the original ending?
I can't tell you. I can't tell you on camera. I will tell you off camera.
Okay, all right. Well,
but this would have been part funded by George Harrison.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, because like he did, because he was big friends with people like the Pythons.
Yeah,
so,
he did Life of Brian, didn't
yes,
he?
yeah,
Funded
but
that.
he
He funded that as well?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Didn't know that.
didn't realise.
What a useful beetle.
Exactly. Well, this is why we get While My Guitar Gently Weeps
Yeah,
in the
indeed.
film.
No.
Of course.
Yeah.
What?
You know when they come up the stairs and presuming Ed's in the bath?
Yeah.
Yeah. The music in the background is the Beatles' While My Guitar Gently Weeps.
Didn't know that.
I must admit, this is the first time I noticed it.
Oh, that's what that piece is.
Yes.
Right.
But you were saying about, well, while we were watching it earlier, you were saying about Richard E. Grant being a little bit hammered when they did this.
Well, he just did it so incredibly well, and it's something that actors are famously bad at.
Yeah,
Really famously bad at.
He wasn't. It's a thing he's talked about it a few times in interviews. He wasn't at all. He was stone cold sober because he's allergic to alcohol.
No.
Really? So he's never been drunk?
No.
That's really I thought it was just like his eyes as well. It looked like it in the eyes it gave it away.
I think for part of the filming he was actually ill. So some of the pallor and stuff like that was
Hey.
because he was ill.
Right,
Yeah.
that would explain it. Yeah.
Yeah, but no.
But
the
I'll
acting
say,
front-
Mr. Grant, well done,
Well
sir.
done, yeah.
You really captured it.
Yeah, but this is so. If you haven't ever seen or ever heard of this film, as Sam said, it was made in the late 80s, based on stories that Bruce Robinson had been writing about, and some memoirs, if you like, about his life, which he turned into a film about two out-of-work actors renting an apartment in Camden in the late 60s, and how they try and keep the Grim Reaper away, basically.
Well, but how
say
they
their
try to
sanity.
stave off reality.
Yes, that's a better way of putting it. Yeah,
Yeah.
And it is absolutely fantastic. As it has gone on for me personally. Even though I've never done a proper list, if I ever did, this is definitely in my top 3 films of all time.
Wow.
To the
Right.
point that there's a piece of music in here, Withnail's theme, which is like the main theme for the film. Without, wishing to sound too morbid, that's what I want at my funeral, is Withnail's theme. It's oddly bittersweet, and yet slightly comical at the same time. That's what I want.
Oh,
Yeah. I understand what you're saying.
I'll try and remember that.
Thank you. And you do too.
So-
Sorry, I didn't mean to stop the conversation there.
No, that's very interesting.
So there you have it. You know, a couple of actors in the late 60s head off into the countryside and try and find themselves a little bit of peace of mind. And stuff and things happen. Including Monty.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, sorry, we haven't mentioned Uncle Monty.
One of the greatest characters of film ever.
Excellently played by Richard Griffiths.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
It is a career-defining performance, really.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
So good in that.
It didn't help that around the time when it wouldn't be when I got the DVD, when I got the Blu-ray. I'd watched it again a few times around, when was it? Sorry, I'm looking for it on my list of shows that I was in. The Birthday Party. So March 2010. Which, if you don't know The Birthday Party by Harold Pinter, a guy who's renting a room from this old couple has 2 friends suddenly turn up out of the blue to help celebrate his birthday, and they've come from Monty.
Have they really?
Yes, they have come from
right.
Monty.
Interesting.
Again, no connection, because obviously the Birthday Party was written in the 60s. But yeah. So you can imagine on stage or backstage when we were rehearsing that.
Yes.
We just wanted Richard Griffiths to appear at the window on screen. This, as Kris was saying, this Blu-ray transfer is really good.
Yes, because they've done everything they can to keep the original grain and intention and mood while still cleaning up the image. They don't sacrifice the original grain and the mood for the new image, which is really good.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I'm sure we will get onto that a bit more next time as well.
Indeed, indeed.
But yeah, as I say, if you haven't seen it, do check it out. It's well worth it. I don't want to say anything more about it. It's, as a slow burn film, it's the best hour and 47 minutes you can have. And I don't think that's too high praise at all. Did you know, I'm sorry, we were talking, obviously last time when Kris was here, we were doing Fear and Loathing. Not surprisingly, at the time, I meant to say at the time, Johnny Depp had approached Bruce Robinson about directing that. But
Directing what? Sorry.
about directing Fear and Loathing.
Oh!
But he turned it down because at the time he was officially retired. I think he was more concentrating on his artwork, I think. And he didn't want anything to do with it. And then it was later that you managed to talk him round to do the run diaries.
Oh, it's the same director of that, is it?
Yeah.
Did he write it as well? I know, obviously, it's based
Andrew Thompson.
but did he adapt a screenplay? 'Cause I know
I
he's a
don't know
writer.
who did the screenplay. He probably did. As we're talking about Bruce Robinson, on my list for what I just unread, although it's going to take me a while to read it, there's a book called They All Love Jack, written by Bruce Robinson, which is him essentially tearing apart most of the conspiracy theories surrounding Jack the Ripper.
Oh.
And it's a huge book. It's like 890 pages.
Wow.
Good Lord.
So that one is on the list at some point as well. So Bruce, we love you.
So, summing up the film, we enjoy it. We think you will, if you're not too worried about being wowed by things. This isn't a film that's going to blow your mind. It's not going to kill you with special effects. It's a simple character piece that's got some extremely amusing moments in it, and it is worth your time.
Gently visceral.
Yes. So I'm giving it 2 thumbs up.
And that's definitely 2 thumbs up from me.
For me, it's a 2 thumbs up.
Fantastic.
So there you have it, folks. Quite popular.
Yes.
Give it a look if you haven't. Meanwhile...
Well, I guess it's for real.
For real?
For real.